So today we're going to look at the Select Subject feature in Adobe Photoshop. It's a pretty new feature, but it's a really good feature. You might have noticed me on a previous video not so long ago. I was looking at Select a Mask, okay, which is a really good way of selecting and refining edges of images when we're putting them in. And it's in the same menu, okay, but this time it's pretty much going to do all the work for us. We don't need to do much at all. So I've got this photograph here of me training one of the delegates in the studio of the week, and what I want to do is cut this out. Okay, I'm not going to use any of my selection tools initially. All I'm going to do is click on the Select and Mask button at the top here. Okay, now when it comes into here, we're not going to see much because essentially there's nothing selected, so it's not really showing us anything here. But rather than go and fiddle about with any of the tools down the right hand side like we did before, I'm going to click straight on this Select Subject option at the top here, and this is automatically going to decide what the prominent objects in this image are and select them for me. Okay, so it's a little bit hit and miss sometimes, but it's surprisingly good once it comes around. But the good thing about it is it's a really good starting point. So there, not too bad, but there's a few bits I do want to refine around here. Okay, so there's a few bits it's included that I don't want to include. So I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to use my quick selection tool at the top. Now, if I want to remove these bits, I've got a little plus in my cursor. So if I press my Alt key, ALT, next to the space bar, and then I paint on that bit, you see it will start to reduce it down for me. Okay, so Alt will remove rather than add. So there's a big bit here, look, Alt key again. Click there to remove. And you can see it's selecting it, and it's also refining the edge slightly for me as well. So you can see these edges, look, even around the hair, they're really well selected. Okay, and let's say there's a bit I might want to add in. I know there's a bit of a chair here, looks a bit odd, he's not leaning on anything. So this time I'm not going to hold down my Alt key, I'm just going to click and drag, okay, just to see what I want to select. Okay, so it's adding in the chair for me here. It's probably got a bit too much, so I'm going to sort of go backwards and forwards with this a little bit. So let's press my Alt key again, come down here, remove these bits that I don't want. Okay, and it's all just a preview at the moment again. Okay, so there's nothing, not committed to anything particular here. We're just kind of getting the bits that we want and we don't want. So there, that's a pretty good selection, I think you'll agree. Just by a pretty much an automated process, we've got that selected. Okay, so now I want to come out of this Select and Mask feature. So let's come down to the options that we've got down the right hand side here. I've got output to. I could just output to a normal selection if I wanted to, or to a layer mask, or cut the image out completely into a new layer. But what I think I'm going to do is go to new layer with layer mask. So again, if you've seen my previous videos on layer mask, we know we can still edit this around a bit then if we weren't too happy with the results. Let's go to new layer with layer mask and click OK. Right, so now you can see what's happened now. I've got my original layer underneath, and it's put another layer on top with a layer mask just refining that edge a bit there. So again, I might want to crop this down a little bit maybe to, I don't know, just showing a certain part of this image. Okay, pull it down a little bit there. You know, just kind of mess about with the image itself to crop it down and see how we want it. And again, we might even want to put a brand new background in. Now we've got it on a different layer, so I can copy and paste a new background in behind with a different sky or whatever it is I wanted to, a bit of a beach or something behind us there. But anyway, you get the idea. Really nice automated way to cut out your images, or at least a good starting point anyway.